ideas that will have a massive impact on your farming operation. Brought to you by Farm Marketer. Sit down, start the engine, and let's roll with today's show.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Impact Farming Show. Today we have Elaine Froese with us, farm family coach, and we are doing a really neat episode today. We are going to be walking through how to have a farm family meeting. So welcome and thank you for joining us.
Great. Thank you.
I'm so excited. We have on our show here, we're dedicated to bringing our audience the people and ideas that'll impact their farming operation. And I also am excited to dive into some how-to. And very often we talk about increasing communication and farm family meetings. But when we think about it, oh my goodness, it sounds so easy. But where do you even start? So I'm so excited.
Good. And I've got my Beanie Baby Ox with me.
Excellent.
So the first thing you need is a talking stick, which is what this is. And so in our meeting, when I'm facilitating it, when you hold the bowl, you get to talk. So we may pass this back and forth, so you can hold it right now. So what's your first question for me?
How do we do a farm family meeting?
So the first thing you need is an actual really good flip chart.
Okay.
And this one is a good one. It costs about $250. You can get them on sale at Staples, but it also, also has a whiteboard underneath it, which you can use for other things to collect agenda items between the meetings.
Okay.
Just buy yourself, and if you don't want to invest in the flip chart, you could just buy yourself a $34 tab of Post-it paper that's this size.
Okay.
But it's important that you have a big sheet.
Okay.
And why is that important is because we want everybody to see what is going on, and we also want the ability at the end of the meeting, we're going to get out our smartphones and take pictures of each sheet. So everybody will have an electronic digital copy of what was talked about at the meeting. Okay? So you have your talking stick. Now you're going to ask me, what's the agenda?
What's the agenda, Elaine?
So is it operational or
Okay.
is it strategic?
Okay.
So operational would be how we're running the farm day to day, week to week, month to month. Strategic would be more like what is the transition of labor management in terms of transition planning, which you would call succession planning, but
Okay.
we're not.
Okay.
But no one's getting knocked off in this case. They're just getting into new roles.
Transitioning.
So who should be at the meeting?
Who should be at the meeting, Elaine?
Okay, so we have our page here, and I've got goals, and this would be goals for the meeting. And the meeting really should not last, Tracy, longer than 2 hours, 3 max.
Okay.
None of this all-day stuff because we have farms and businesses to run. So goals for the meeting, what are the outcomes? So who's at the meeting is Dad, the founder, Mom, son, daughter-in-law, daughter, who's another successor, son-in-law, whoever. And these are the people who are involved in the operation. So if this is an operational meeting, these will be the people involved in the farm.
Okay.
If this is a strategic meeting in terms of the goal for the meeting is a vision for the farm, vision of the farm, I'll just put vision for the farm, then it might also be other siblings who are not in the farm, right?
Okay.
And why are they here? In my world as a coach, and this is what I'd like to encourage the viewers, is when you're doing a major transition on the farm, I like to have everybody kept in the loop. But before we've come to this meeting as a coach, I have talked to every person here. So I have a good idea what they are already bringing to the meeting. Okay. But your accountant and your lawyers or other advisors or your financial planner can also use this. But if you're just starting out and this is your first meeting as a family, maybe you just want it to be the people who are involved on the farm. Okay?
That makes sense.
Okay. So the other thing I have on here are Post-it notes. So in another episode, Tracy, we talked about the values cloud. So these are just your core beliefs, what's important to you, and what impacts the culture on your farm. So I'm just going to give Dad some values. So one of his values is honesty, wealth, respect, challenge. What's another good one for Dad? Trust. Okay? And one of Mom's values is intimacy, because she's very concerned about family harmony. Another one that she's wants to have is fun, and she might have a few more. The son, he wants to have fun. He also wants to have wealth. But, oh, surprise, surprise, he also wants respect, and he also wants trust. So I won't finish these off, but this is how you do it.
Okay.
And then so each person would get a pack of their own notes, but I've color coded them so that you know these are dads, these are moms, these are sons, these are daughter-in-law. Daughter-in-law always says respect. That's pretty basic for her. And another one that I give to her would be teamwork, which is a high value of my daughter-in-law. And another one would be financial security. So why it's important to do this as your beginning step is to get to find out what everybody wants. And in conflict resolution, I have a paper back here. We have a thing that we talked about before called positions and interests. So this is like going beneath the iceberg, and this is why it's also good to have old school paper, because you can see this as a big picture, right? So what is it in your farm family, Tracy, that you all want? Give me an idea. What do you want?
You put me on the spot here. What do we want? We want, I would say, honesty, transparency.
Yeah.
That's an important one.
Okay. What else do you want?
I would say communication.
Yeah. So you want to be able to talk. You also, DM stands for decision making. You want shared decision making.
Yes.
You want everybody to have a voice.
Absolutely.
So everything that you just talked about here is the common interest. So when you start off your meeting, you get an idea of what the values are, then you know where people are coming from. So they want, and these are also guidelines for the meeting: honesty, respect, everybody to be respected, to trust that the decisions that you're going to make are going to be shared. So I'm just going to take these off right now. And so you've done this exercise and you get some sense of what everybody, and then you can see who's different and who's the same, right?
Okay.
Okay, so that's the value. That's how you do a values cloud or a values exercise with the family. Now the next thing you want to do, we only have 2 hours.
Okay.
What's the most important thing for us to talk about today? So pretend you're Dad.
Okay.
How old are you? Dad?
I am 74 years old. Or
Okay.
should I say 74 years old?
Okay. And what would make this a successful meeting? What would you like to see happen at this meeting, Dad?
I don't know. Am I a dad that wants this meeting?
Yes, you're here.
I'm a dad that wants this meeting.
Yeah, why are you here? What would make this a good meeting for you? What do you need to find out at this meeting, Dad?
I don't know, Elaine.
Okay, so just drawing you out. It's not fair because we're just putting you on the spot. So Dad, he wants to know some timelines, and he wants to know his role going forward. His role as he ages, okay? He's 74 years old,
Okay.
okay? He also wants to know where his money is going to come from. So he wants to know how much income he can get from the farm. So how old is Mom?
She's 72.
Okay? And she wants to know, can she get a new house?
I was going to say, it's funny, if you would have asked me what daughter-in-law wants or a different age, I would have been more on it, but
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
fine. She also wants...
security, I would say, would
yeah,
come.
Yeah,
right?
she wants some security.
How are we going to live?
And she wants increase... Here's your favorite word, Trace.
My favorite word, communication.
She wants increased communication.
Okay.
And she also wants family harmony.
Of course.
Yeah, okay. Now, how old's the son? So if he's 74, he could be like 48, right? That's getting up there.
Yeah.
So he is overdue. I'll just put overdue on here. Because the reason I'm putting ages on the board is because I want everybody to remember they're not 21 anymore. And typically, if this son was much younger, even 40 or 35 to 40, this is typically where I'm very much involved as a coach. Because when the son and daughter, who are the successors, are in their mid-30s to approaching 40, what they're looking for is equity, and they are also looking for the same thing as mom. They're also looking for that security, okay?
Yeah.
Now, so I'm going to make him a little bit younger. I'll make him 42, which isn't that, that's, still have him in long age, but anyway, 42 and 40-ish, whatever. Now, if she's 40, there's also likely some children, right? So she, the question she has in her head is, what if this person dies? So what if spouse dies? And also, does she have to move ever? Right?
Yeah.
Because we don't, if mom's wanting a new house, that's probably implying that she's going to have to move. And if she's moving off the main yard, is she moving on to the main yard? Do you see where this is all going?
Yep.
So what we're trying to do is just get the big key issues on the board. And then this daughter, let's make her 36 and make him 39. And she wants to know what her roles are going to be. And she also wants to talk about fairness. Because somebody always wants to talk about fairness. And
yes.
especially if these non-farming siblings are going to be down here. So this is what you do, and this kind of sets the framework as to what you need to talk about at the meeting. But this is only a 2-hour meeting, right? We said it was going to be 2 hours. So then we flip the page and we say, well, what's the most important thing for us to talk about? So obviously we need to talk about money, because Dad's brought up money, Mom's brought up, well, I need money for a new house, and Son's brought up money in terms of where he's going to get some ownership, correct? Because that's what that is. So one of the diagrams that I use a lot, and this is just from another presentation I did, is this is the personal wealth bubble, which is on this side of the equation. But this is the farming side on this side. And the farm is comprised of land and then assets, which I've just put as an operating company. So this could be, in your case, like cows. It could also be in things like equipment, inventory, whatever, right? So this is also helpful in your family meeting, because then you ask Dad, so Dad, what's the size of your personal wealth bubble?
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Room
shock.
just got quiet.
Yeah, really quiet. Again, so a part of this is the work of Dr. David Cole. The families that can do this kind of work, Tracy, are 21% more profitable. So if you can talk about income streams, and which is one of my first questions, how much do you need? So if he wants to take $40,000 a year out of that for an income stream, then he may have to take another $40,000 out of this for an income stream, which would give them $80,000, right?
Yeah.
But then, again, this is Merle Good's work from Alberta, but if this personal wealth bubble for mom and dad is zero, then we've got big problems.
I was just going to say, so what would this be? What's examples of this?
Okay, so if this personal wealth bubble is $2 million in other real estate or RSPs, tax-free savings, and whatever, if you use a 4% rule, then you can draw $80,000 out of that and not touch the farm.
Right.
But I just talked to a family today in another province where the children don't even know what this number is, and I suspect, based on the house being rack and ruined and not in good shape, that this is zero.
Okay.
So if this is zero, where's the pressure going to come from?
Right.
It all has to come from the farm. And so then I've already, as a coach, prepped, or the accountant has already told the family, you can expect $80,000 is a reasonable number. Then you have the son, and he's got 2 kids, so he wants $80,000 as well. And maybe the daughter's just married, has no children, and she's happy with 70,000, whatever. You can see the numbers piling up here just for family living.
This is all coming from the farm, aside from the cost of operating the farm. We
Yeah.
want to take out that much for those family members.
Right.
Right.
Or not.
Or not.
If there's an off-farm income. So, but this is just an example of how you use the flip chart as a really good visual for concepts.
Okay.
So the first question in a family meeting is the income stream question, because there's always usually fights about reasonable expectations about income stream. Then you can use this tool, which is from Michael Pantalon's book called Instant Influence. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being really ready, how ready are you, Dad and Mom, to go to a financial planner? Dad says 2. Mom says 8. Mom is really ready to get that new house.
Yeah.
Dad, not so much. Okay, he's still over here. So now you know the size of the gap. So you can use this question on a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you to ... You can use this for all kinds of questions. And that will help you see the readiness of the people sitting around the table, how ready they are to change.
Okay.
Okay? So this is just an example of what you can do. And then you just turn the page over and say, okay, income stream, and you talk about money. And we've talked about that a little bit. Okay, now the next topic that we need to talk about is the house. So how much money do you want to spend on a house, Mom?
Oh, 500,000.
Okay, which is not an unreasonable number.
Yeah, actually it is.
And
It's not nowadays.
Where do you want to build this house?
In town.
Oh, okay.
I do.
And so there's going to be a lot to purchase as well,
Right.
right? And which town? And then you name the town, right?
Town right next to the farm.
Right, okay. So then there's that whole discussion around the house thing.
Yes.
So, and then the meeting just keeps going. Who wants the bowl next? May I have the bowl, please? So I'm the daughter-in-law, and I want to say, this isn't going to work because I need to be closer to my work, and my husband is not able to do this, so we won't be ready to move to the main yard for another 5 years. So Mom and Dad, would you take the next 5 years to just save up? Well, in 5 years, how old's Mom going to be? She's going to be 77. Yeah. Right? So do you see how this goes? So what happens in this discussion now, and I just call it, it's kind of like a spiral of information. So what you're doing so you say we started this meeting, Tracy, at 9 a.m. in the morning, after everyone's had a good sleep, chores are done, everyone's been fed. So from 9 to 11, all we do is drill down on the issues and we just document, right? But then when 11 o'clock hits, you should take a 10-minute break. At 11:15, you come and you start a new page called Action Steps. Based on everything, guys, that we've talked about today, what are our action steps? One of them, financial planner. And so you just start listing them. And then you say, oh, by the way, are the wills up to date? Because what if? So you've played what if my husband died or got hurt or whatever. Well, maybe we should also get the wills updated. What's another thing? Well, maybe we should research house plans and house costs, right? Maybe we should also research lots in town. Maybe we should also do Elaine's compensation summary on farm perks, because what son and daughter-in-law don't realize is they're getting $20,000 worth of benefit by living on another farmyard that the farm's paying for.
Okay.
See where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So you just keep going down the list of all the action steps. And then the next thing you do is you sign a name to it. So Mom's going to call for this, and then you might also be smart to put a date on by when. Especially with the wills, that needs to be done by the first of the month. Say July 1st or whatever that is.
Okay.
Then your meeting is over when the time is done. And you might want to, and when I work with some families, some of them like to do a prayer, a blessing, a closing or something. But then you get out your phones and you just flip back and take pictures and start at the beginning of where your, whoops, that's not where our beginning was. This is our beginning, so that you remember what the intention was of the meeting. And then you go, but you should, the other thing before you wrap up is you always write down date of next.
Important.
Yeah.
If you don't schedule it, it won't happen, right?
Right.
Okay.
So that's a very quick overview, but that should give your viewers enough concreteness to get going. And you're saying, well, what if we make a mistake? Because farmers are terribly paranoid about making mistakes. Don't worry about it. You're doing the best you can do. The main thing is you use that so you can talk without interruption. And you document things. And if you have somebody who likes to keyboard, you can ask me for, it's called a meeting template. I'm happy to send it to your viewers. Just go to farmfamilycoach.com and ask me for my meeting template, and I'll give that to you. And it's a digital thing where you type in who was there, the date of the meeting, reason for the meeting, and then it says date, discussion, who it's assigned to, and whether it's complete.
Okay.
It's just really, really easy.
I have 2 questions for you. How often should families have farm meetings?
As often as they have the energy to do them.
Is that like monthly?
It depends. Remember we said there's 2 kinds, so there's operational. So the operational meetings will be weekly, but they might not be done like this on paper. They might just be done by getting together, but somebody tracking. And I know Kristen Hebert and other people who do a lot of farm management work, they share their information on Google Docs.
Okay.
So everybody on the farm knows what's going on, like that. So, but strategic wise, you might depending, strategic means depending on how quickly you want to keep moving your transition plan forward. So you might want to do those quarterly, or you might want to do those biannually.
Okay.
In our family, ours have been like a year to 2 years apart, because the tax accounting people needed that much time for things to process to the next stage.
Okay.
So as often as you can keep them going. Now what's going to happen is they're going to fall off the rails during the busy times.
Right.
So the meeting may not have to be 3 hours long, but you might want to just call a 15 or a half an hour meeting and just say, there's only one issue on the table here. We have to decide this by today or by next week. And so then you get it done. The other thing is to also, Tracy, be able to use Zoom. Zoom.us is what I use to have meetings with families all over North America.
Okay.
Or you can also use a speakerphone. So you might want to bring, I've had family meetings where I've brought in a girl, a sibling from Montreal, say, or from Vancouver, okay?
Okay.
The main thing is to start getting stuff done.
Okay, I have one more hard question for you. Okay, so I'm going to take the daughter-in-law role right now.
Right, okay.
And I have married into a farm family that does not like to talk about anything.
Right.
I'm not saying my farm family. I'm just giving an example, which can be quite common. And having a meeting or even talking about this stuff, that's not something that's done in my family, let's say. So myself, my husband, we're frustrated. Again, not my family, but we're frustrated and we want to get this communication going. But this isn't something that's done. We're nervous, we're scared. We don't want to go to the older generation, the operators, and bring this up because this isn't something we do, Elaine. How do you even start this? How do you even start this? Oh.
Write a letter.
Okay.
Old fashioned, but I've got it on my blog in a couple of places called The Power of a Letter.
Okay.
So I have seen it done, Tracy, where that exact scenario has happened. And what they've done is sat down with a Word document and they'd say, Dear Mom and Dad, The reason we are writing this letter is because we're now approaching 40 and we're getting very frustrated because we feel very uncertain about the pain of not knowing our future.
Okay.
We just want to know, is there a plan? The other problem is there's this whole sense of overwhelm because there's so many plans, right?
Yeah.
There's a business plan, a communication plan, a lifestyle plan, which is retirement or lifestyle. There's exit plan, there's the estate plan. I've already listed 5 plans.
That's a lot.
So you write a letter and saying, we need to talk because I need to know. And so you say, and you could just make it, I need to know. And then you just put it in bullet points. I need to know this, I need to know this, and you just pour your heart out on a letter, which you can then deliver.
That's nice.
And they can read it as many times as they want, because the message then is received.
And it's not confrontational too.
No, because
That's nice.
But the thing with the letter is you want to choose your words carefully, right? Because it's only one-dimensional. They can't hear your voice. They can't hear your urgency. They can't see. They might see tear stains in the letter, right, of frustration or whatever. But this is a good way to open it up. And then when Mom comes to the meeting, and she's the one who tends to have tears. Same thing. I tell Mom, bring your script with you.
Oh.
And so when she has her opening statement, I don't think I explained this well. When you go around the first time with the bowl, passing the bowl, everybody gets to speak uninterrupted. And Mom will say, I'm not very comfortable about speaking by talking off my feet. I have a script. Please listen to me while I read this. I've thought about this a lot.
That's a great idea.
And then she reads her script.
Good.
And it's fine, because then she's making sure that she's covering all the points that she wants to cover.
That's a great idea. Even the best of us, when we're trying to do a speech, to try and get all your points in, and something so important, you don't want to leave that meeting and go, oh shoot, I forgot to talk about the most important thing to me, right?
Yeah. And I just want to point the viewers to the picture behind your shoulder there, Tracy, is Wes unloading oats during harvest after I just delivered a meal. And that picture is very poignant to me because it was taken before his accident, and his accident was on October 2nd of 2017. So things can change very quickly, and that's why this is such a powerful question at any meeting. What if? What if this happens? Are we as a farm business prepared? What if Dad has a stroke, Mom's diabetes gets in, or whatever the scenario? How are we preparing for this? The other thing that I would suggest that you do is get a binder.
Okay.
And you use that as your planning action binder, so that when you've got these taken on your phone, you can print them out or put them in a digital file.
Okay.
But I like to have a binder of action items for meetings so that you have a place to put your research notes or whatever. And maybe I'm too paper-based because I am 62 years old, but you can put it all on your phone. That's great.
I'm paper-based too. There's something about seeing
well,
something.
And also, there's also something in your brain about writing things down, is that the actual neuroscience between writing it down in your with a pencil or a pen, it wires up into your brain, and then it starts putting it into your subconscious, and then you'll start acting on it.
That's actually how I solve all my problems. If I'm stuck on something, I start writing. Magic.
It happens.
It just comes together. The answers come together for me.
Right, and so these are, I'll just flip to the very front here. I did a training lately on why people came to the workshop, but I just want them to look at what other farmers are thinking and feeling. These are the 2 biggest things right here: procrastination and conflict avoidance. That is what's happening in agriculture, and what everybody wants to know is how to start the conversation about transition and how to let go, and what do we do with failure, and why are we feeling this way, and what if this happens. So welcome to my world. It's everywhere. And so for you, you can't say you don't know. Now you know.
Well, really, and just start too.
Yeah.
What's the best way to start? Start.
And just keep taking the next step and let it just unfold.
Okay. Excellent.
Good.
Okay, thank you so much, Elaine. It is one thing to just talk about how important farm family meetings are. It's another thing to know how to do it. So now our audience knows there's no excuse, and this was fantastic. Thank you.
Good. Get her done.
You've been listening to Impact Farming. For more great episodes and articles designed to help you manage and grow your farming operation, head on over to farmmarketer.com. Don't forget to sign up while you're there. We will see you on the next episode.